Hi, everyone. Alan Schultz here, Chief of Police for the town of Danville, and we are 10-8 and in service, which means we are here to make people's lives better by safeguarding the lives, rights, and property of everyone we serve. I actually have a lot I'm going to try to put into this show tonight. We've got an open house coming up I want to talk about, Coffee with Cops coming up. We're going to talk about the crime, the traffic blotter. We're going to cover, I have 2 cases that I'd like your help on in identifying people. It's actually one left over from last week. That's the porch pirate that's stealing people's benches off their stuff, and then a Walgreens thief. And then our final thought will be the last part of the update that I gave council a week and a half ago. First, though, if we can, we do have our open house. This is where, we've moved from 510 Lagonda Way to 500 Lagonda Way, and we've got new town offices, new police department, and we are here. And on January 23rd, so that's next Monday, between 4 and 6 p.m., we're actually going to open our doors. So you can come on down. They're going to be, our community room will be open. We'll have some displays set up in there, and then you'll get to take tours of the police department and some portions of the town. So that'll be a good opportunity to come in and see kind of where we moved, and then also ask questions about what we do to serve the public. If you want to see us in person too, we're going to have another chance for the police on February 27th. So that'll be next week on Friday down at Pete's Coffee between 9 and 10 a.m. We'll be out there to say hi to everyone. Hopefully it'll be one of those nice sunny days where we can go out and see a lot of people on their bikes and people joining in to have fun. So those are 2 ways that you can engage with us. As always, we want to encourage people to download the FEMA All Hazards Checklist. There's a link in the description. This teaches you how to stay safe in a variety of disasters. How to prepare now, survive during, and be safe after. In the wildfire, this is a good example here. It kind of talks about what you can do during a wildfire. And we really want to start prepping for the wildfire side of things. We don't want to wait till the dry season is here. We want to do those things knowing that we've had all this great rain. All these plants and bushes are going to grow, and we need to make sure that we still maintain defensible spaces around our homes, because we know that that's one thing, especially like on our west side and some of those areas where we back up to hillsides, that's going to help us stay safe in case of emergency. There's also tips on there on how to prepare your home and your family. Also, you can download the Wildfire Preparedness and Evacuation Guide. There is a link in the description, and sign up to receive alerts via the community warning system. First, I want to apologize to all of you. We push Nixle all the time, and we try to send out alerts when appropriate. And what we'll do is we'll send out alerts if there's a road closure, if there's a tree down in the road, if there's an accident and we're going to have the road closed for an extended period of time, usually more than 30 minutes, we'll send one out. We usually don't send them out at 2 in the morning because there's going to be such little traffic impacted by the closure, and we don't want to wake people up at 2 in the morning. So usually we try to send them out at a reasonable time, and we try to use good judgment. During the floods, we had a tree down and we had a road that was compromised, and we did put some information out on the compromised road. And I personally failed to put information out on the road closure that was further down the road on Blackhawk Road, as it would impact our community here in Danville. So my apologies for that. We do put those out. If there's a significant collision on 680 that results in a backup in traffic downtown, we put it out. So there's not a jurisdictional boundary. That really the thought is if there is an incident that's going to create a hazard for those in the Danville area, then we want to let you know that. And so I do apologize for that. We were throwing out a lot of Nixle alerts over the last couple of weeks, I guess the first 2 weeks of the year, but I did miss one of them. So I do apologize for that. All right. And we talked, let me show the picture. I added a picture here. So here's why you want to download the Wildfire Preparedness Guide. Is it includes things like this. It includes a crude map about the defensible space that you want to create around your home. And it will talk about how to prepare and plan for these incidents should they occur. All right, so this is a live show. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them right during the chat. I'm actually going to try to monitor both the Facebook and the YouTube, because I see there's a few folks watching on YouTube. So I've got both chats up. So if you're on YouTube and you want to ask a question, go ahead and ask that question, and I'll work to answer it live during the show. I'll usually stay on for about 20 minutes afterwards, so that if there is another question, I can answer it right there in the chat. And frankly, if I don't get to it and your question pops in your head tomorrow, come to the open house and ask me then. Come to our Coffee with the Cops. We've got lots of ways that we like to engage. All right, let's talk about crime. You can always go and proactively check this yourself at communitycrimeapp.com and get the information there. I want you to look at the map here because we sometimes don't see all of this. So in the bottom part, you see the shoplifting icon is a little shopping cart. And so pay attention to that one because we're going to have one of those. And then I want you to pay attention, the boxing gloves, that's an aggravated assault because we did have one of those, and it's very, very rare that we have those. But let's take a look at traffic. We almost did it. We almost went a week with no reported traffic collisions. We ended up with one property collision, a non-injury collision on Camino Tasajara and Old Blackhawk Road. That's pretty good. Considering the weather we've been having, considering everything, that is very good. So that is a kudos to all of you. I do have to say that our traffic enforcement officers have been out there quite a bit. So they're doing their thing to help keep those accidents down. When the engineering and the education doesn't work, then that enforcement is out there. So our traffic guys are out there doing their job. Let's look at crime, January 9th through the 15th. So last week. The very first one on El Alamo Road, 300 block, and I did talk about it last week, but we'll go over it again. There was an assault with a deadly weapon, and that stemmed from a catalytic converter theft, where a witness / victim saw the crime occur, and then that led to the assault with a deadly weapon. We are working that case, and we hope to see a resolution on that. But we are working aggressively on that case. On the 9th, there was property stolen from a locked truck on Laguna Court. And on the 10th, there was a shoplift of property from Walgreens on San Ramon Valley Road. Lou, I'm going to apologize. Lou just said the audio and video seems stuck. Let me check our stream real quick. All right, so the stream looks good. If someone else is seeing it, let me know. If not, we'll keep running, and the feed I have up seems to be going. Lou, let me respond back. All right, so Lou, I appreciate the instant feedback. Sometimes I've had the mic off, and you guys have said, "Hey, your mic's off." So good on you for that. And we'll see if we can't get Lou back. But let's go back over so the 10th is that shoplift. I'm going to ask for your help. I'm going to show you some pictures of both the people and the vehicle associated with that crime to see if you can help identify who those people are. But on that assault with a deadly weapon and that stemmed from a catalytic converter theft, this is where when we talk about those Peelian principles that rolled a little bit long at the beginning of the show, I think it's 7 that says the people are the police and the police are the people, which means that we all carry the same responsibility to public safety. That's what makes Danville so great. When you talk about Danville being so safe, it's not solely on the shoulders of the police department. In fact, most of it rests on all of your shoulders. We all carry the same responsibility. The police are just simply the people you pay full time to carry that out. What we would ask is, if you're in this situation, your safety is priority. Keep yourself safe. As you see things, report it to us, let us know, and we will go out and we will work to apprehend those people that are doing harm and protect people. All right. So let's look at the rest of the crime. I had to use 2 pages. There was quite a bit. We did have a stolen Camry from the 300 block of Kool-Aid Drive. We had bicycles that were stolen from an unlocked garage. That seems to be a trend. We've had, if you remember last week, we had 2 different homes where bikes were stolen from inside the garage when the door was left open. And one of them from last week, the owner actually saw it happening on his phone. So he actually got an alert, looked on his phone, and saw someone walking away with the bike, and we were able to quickly arrest that person and get them into custody. So this is a trend that we're seeing. So we're advising 2 things. 1, if you have bikes in your garage, like I do, lock them up. That is the best thing from a prevention standpoint you can do. The general measures of keeping your door locked and closed, making sure you have motion lights or cameras are always good advice too. But that is a trend that we're seeing, so we want to make sure that so that you can be on the lookout for that. We had some more property taken from a locked vehicle on the 300 block of Sycamore Circle, and then we had property taken from a home on Cannes court between January 3rd and 13th. So it was a late report, and we had just gotten it. But I want you to pay attention. The bicycles stolen from the unlocked garage, those are still classified as a burglary, just like the property that was taken from the home, from inside the home on Cans Court. And then we had a theft of a license plate on the 700 block of Camino Ramon. The reason I point that out is a lot of times we look at the statistics and we say back in 2015, there was 119 burglaries. That's commercial, residential. A burglary is simply entering a structure with the intent to commit a theft or any felony. All right. So the person that goes into the open and unlocked garage takes something right from the front there, like a bicycle, and leaves. That is technically a burglary. Just like someone that goes around the back, kicks in the back door, takes all your jewelry and leaves. That's also a burglary. What happens for us is we tend to think when we hear the word burglary, we think it's always the person that's entering the main living portion of the home and taking a bunch of valuables. And it isn't always that way. So there is some nuance even within the statistics. So the statistics don't always tell the whole story. All right. So we do need your help. I'm going to throw these up again. This is actually from last week. This is what looks like a teenager, young adult that is stealing benches from out in front of a couple of homes. We've got photos / video of one. I'm going to show you some photos. If you know who this person is, we would ask that you direct message us or send an email to our detective sergeant. I've linked her email I've put her email in the link, so you can just click on that and go. Please don't put it like in the chat. The whole purpose is not to publicly condemn somebody or, call them out in that way. We just want to resolve these crimes. All right. So this is from Mission Place. Mission is right off of Camino Ramon, kind of near the Greenbrook area, just south of Greenbrook. And what happened was this person stole a bench from 1 yard on the 31st at about 9:39. And then there was a related case a few days later on the 5th, same MO. In other words, someone went and stole a bench off the front yard. So if you know who that person is, please let us know. Now, the theft of the merchandise on Walgreens, the first set of photos I'm going to show you, really it's going to be centered on the people. So if you can identify their faces, and we've got some a little bit grainy, but they're close up, so you might have a good shot of identifying them. And on one of them, you can see the upper left photo, the person's wearing a large sweatshirt with a big old V on the back, which is pretty identifiable. So these are actually 4 different ladies in those 4 pictures. So if you can identify any of the 4, we'd ask that you send us a message. If you see the white vehicle with the black bumper up top, that is actually the vehicle that they used to get away in. That is their vehicle. And the reason I'm highlighting this is for 2 reasons. One, I do want to show and I do want to get your help in identifying these people so that we can bring them to justice. The other is to show you how we investigate cases and how you can help. Now, if you look at the first picture, we've got the person going to the vehicle, and this is all from the video that we were able to obtain from the victims. So we've got a good vehicle that they had gotten into. And so we can take that information and then we can go back and we look at our data and we're able to pull that picture on the right that shows, hey, this is the car. Then we look for that car all over the place and we're able to determine the city that car most frequents. And so we can actually focus our investigation very quickly because of the leads we obtained from the store. Again, I know we have the assault with a deadly weapon, which takes priority over a property crime, but we do have a detective assigned to this case, and we are working this case aggressively as well. We want people to know that if you come to Danville and you steal, we will spare no expense, whether it's crime lab processing, DNA, follow-up in outside jurisdictions, but we want to bring you to justice and make sure that you know that we don't want you to commit crime here in Danville. If you want to come shop and spend money at the stores and have a good meal at the restaurants, we're all with you. If you want to come and steal from our stores and hurt people, we're not with you on that one, and we're going to hold you accountable. All right. So on the 10th, I gave an update to the town council. Prior to that update, though, our town manager, Joe Calabrigo, and our maintenance director, Dave Castile, gave a very, very detailed and thorough update as far as what the town had done in response to the storms. I would encourage you, and there is a link in the description, click on the link, start at about the 23-minute mark, and that is when they start with that portion of the storm update. My portion was just a quarterly update about what the police department is doing, and I try to highlight a couple of program areas within the police department. Last week, I talked about what we do for mental health outreach or mental health response. Today, we're going to talk about what we do in the way of outreach. And first off, this might look a little familiar, but I talked about this show. And at the start of every show, people that are watching can hear me talk about the importance of downloading the FEMA All Hazards Guide, the Wildfire Guide, and then get detailed information on our Danville PD Main page, as well as staying connected with our Zonehaven site and knowing their zone. And the reason that was important is I highlight that because all of these things we do in the way of prevention, it is for these events that are very low frequency. They just don't happen that often here, right? We don't, knock on wood, we don't have wildfires all the time. We don't have earthquakes all the time. But should one happen, there are some small things that you can do, and it doesn't take much time. Some small things that you can do to make it so that you are far better prepared. Food storage, water storage, energy, those sort of things. Have weeks worth of supplies on hand so that should something happen, you're very, very well prepared. And so I did cover some of that. I talked about the knowing your zone. So that is Zonehaven. Zonehaven, if you go to the link in the description below, it's the Zonehaven Aware website. And you can see in the picture here, I actually highlighted what we would call Danville Zone 15. We've split Danville into about 20 or 30 zones. Zone 15 covers Bolero Drive, Sycamore Valley Road, El Capitan, kind of that area. And covers like the Rose Garden Shopping Center, Danville Woods, Middle Brookside, Autumn Creek, and portions of Sycamore neighborhoods. And what we can do is if we've got a flood advisory, if we have an evacuation warning, like, so say if there's a fire that may be encroaching into that area and we're not yet at an evacuation order, but we're at an evacuation warning, we'll notify you via Nixle. So that's the text message you get on your phone, like we do road closures. We'll notify you via Nixle and say there are evacuation warnings in certain areas. We'll also highlight it on the map, and we'll keep this map up to date in real time. So as we move an area from evacuation warning to evacuation order, not only will you get the notification here, but you can also check the zone on Zonehaven. And then when we remove the order and we want people to come back home, again, we'll let you know here, and we'll also update it here. So if you haven't heard something from us and we're in the middle of some scenario or a disaster of some sort and you didn't get a text, then maybe you can just go to the Zonehaven site and check and see what the status of your neighborhood is. And if you haven't checked it out, I would just Google Zonehaven or click the link, but Google it and check it out. It is all over the Bay Area, all over the state. It was used extensively in the wildfires last year. In fact, 2 years ago, when I gave the presentation to council last year on this, I actually showed what some of the active zones look like up north. And you could actually see which ones are in evacuation warning, which ones are in alert. And then they had plotted out the actual fire, where the fire was. So very, very good map. And if you haven't checked it out, just check it out, bookmark it so that when the disaster strikes, you can go, where is it? You just look at your bookmarks and you jump on it. On that Zonehaven, there is some information about what you can do to stay informed during and after an evacuation. It also talks about, and there's some helpful links in there about being prepared. The second thing is that FEMA All Hazards Guide. I did present on the topic of flood since it seemed appropriate given the time that we were in. And then the way the FEMA guide is structured is you're going to get some immediate tips on what to do if there is a flood warning. And these were the tips that we were giving out. So these are the exact tips that we were giving out when we were sending out the Nixle alerts and the alerts on our website, which is stay away from fast moving water. 6 inches can sweep you off your feet. A foot can take your car. And to, stay away from the bridges. If asked to evacuate, evacuate. But really the biggest thing was to stay where you are. This is a good guide to have on hand. We recommend printing it out. It'll also help you prepare now, survive during, and be safer. And if you look at the top few tips from each one of these columns, preparing now, know your areas, type in flood risk. You can look at your FEMA map there. Sign up for your community warning system. We talk about that at the beginning of each show. Surviving during, depending on where you are, know what you might need to do. So if it's a shelter in place, if it's evacuate, You may need to do one of those two things. And then be safe after. Listen to the authorities. We'll let you know what needs to be done. And then avoid driving except for emergencies, and then be aware of snakes and other animals. Hopefully we don't have too many snakes here. I'm not a good snake guy, but that was the update we gave to council on that. And I'm going to check. I want to see if there's any questions or updates. Again, I am monitoring the YouTube chat. Now that I see there's a few people watching via YouTube, and it looks like I don't have any questions, although Sue does mention that she got called for jury duty tomorrow. All right. So Sue, thank you. I think that's one of the civic duties. I know we all joke about it, and we joke about, seeing the different ways that we can get out of it. But it's one of the biggest things that we can do in service of the community is beyond those juries, whether it's a criminal jury, a civil jury, or a grand jury. So Sue, thank you for responding to that jury summons. Carol Preach says hi. So Carol, hi to you and your family, and I hope all is going excellent with all of you. Sue, that one I don't know about. Sue says, but in Oakland. So Sue, I don't know what your subpoena says, so I'd have to look at that one or the jury summons rather. All right. So I'm going to check one more shot to see if there was any questions. I don't see any, but here's the other thing. We're going to start moving into February, March. That's when we really start ramping up the emergency preparedness stuff. We're going to go over the guides again, just to really hammer those home. We're going to start covering some SEPTED topics, like what you can do to prepare your house. I know we talked about how to keep your garage safe from theft and those sort of things, but we want to cover some other topics as well. I'm also interested, what do you want to know? And so what are some topic areas that you'd like to talk about? It could be notifications. There was actually a nice email that we received from someone today that prompted me to talk about Nixle a little bit more and how we do Nixle. So if you have a topic that you'd like, you can throw it right in the chat, or you can just shoot me an email direct and say, hey, let's talk about this. And I'd be happy to talk about that. But I do want to remind everybody, we do have a couple of ways that you can come down and meet some city or some town staff, some police officers, and that is at our open house. This is our move from 510 Lagonda Way to 500 Lagonda Way. And we are right next door, but it is an amazing building, and let us welcome you and let us show you what your town and your offices can do for you. If you don't like that setting, which I don't know why you wouldn't, you can always join us down at Pete's that Friday. So Monday, you can come join us at our office. Friday, you can come join us down at Pete's Coffee, 455 Railroad, and we will be there between 9 and 10. All right. So it looks like that is it. And Lou, you wouldn't believe it. So, and Lou, if I don't see you on Friday, give me an email or a call, but you got to see this place. It is a phenomenal building. It represents the town of Danville well, and it certainly is a better place to conduct business out of. So very, very, very good. All right. So that is going to be it. So I'm going to say that we are 10-10, which means we're off duty, but we're always 10-8 in service to all of you. So have a good night, Danville. Bye-bye.